Have you noticed it's getting harder to stand up without holding on to something? Or that climbing the stairs feels heavier than it used to? Almost like your legs aren't listening anymore. That silent heaviness, that slow loss of balance, isn't just getting older. It's your muscles quietly fading away, without warning, without pain, until one day, you need help just to get out of a chair. But here's the part no one tells you. This isn't permanent, and you can start reversing it in just days. The truth is, your legs might not be weak. They might just be missing what they need to fire back up. In this video, you're going to learn about 3 overlooked vitamins that fuel leg strength, coordination, and balance in adults over 60, and how using them the right way could restore the power in your legs faster than you think. There's no workout plan, no expensive treatments, just smart, science-backed nutrition that works quietly behind the scenes. And in the middle of this video, I'll reveal a common mistake many seniors make when taking these vitamins, and fixing it could help you feel the difference almost overnight. If that sounds like something you need, hit like or subscribe to Over 60 Wellness, and let's get your strength back, one step at a time. Section 1. The silent signal your legs are sending. Growing older isn't just about gray hair or wrinkles on your skin. It's about subtle changes that whisper, not scream. And your legs? They're usually the first to speak up, even if you're not listening yet. You might not feel pain, you might not notice swelling, but suddenly, you need to push off your knees to stand up. Stairs feel steeper than they used to. Walking across the room becomes a task, not a breeze. Many seniors shrug it off. It's just age, they say. But here's the truth. Your legs are sending you a message. A quiet warning. And that message is about sarcopenia, the silent shrinking of your muscles. It doesn't knock on the door. It seeps in like a slow leak under the floorboards. Unseen, unheard, but deeply damaging. Think about it like this. Your leg strength is like money in the bank. After 60, small withdrawals happen every year. 1 to 3% gone. Even if you're eating well, sleeping fine, and staying somewhat active. In 5 years, you could lose 15% of your strength. Not because you did something wrong, but because your body simply isn't absorbing what it used to. That weakness doesn't come from laziness. It comes from biology. Your digestion changes. Your cells don't fire the same way. The vitamins you once got from food, they slip through the cracks and used unnoticed. And without the right ones, especially 3 key nutrients, your legs begin to feel like sandbags. You're not imagining it. And no, this isn't just aging. It's a solvable problem, but only if you recognize the signs early. One man shared how he first noticed it. Getting out of the car, his knees buckled slightly, and he reached for the door to pull himself up. That's when it hit him. He wasn't weak. He was missing something. That something is fixable. You can reclaim your strength, your balance, your ease of movement. And no, it doesn't require hours at the gym or expensive therapy. Just the right nutrients at the right time. Coming up next, we're going to reveal the first vitamin your legs are begging for. One that's quietly missing in most seniors, yet powerful enough to wake up the muscles that have gone quiet. And what it does might surprise you. Section 2. Vitamin D3, the switch that turns everything on. Let's imagine your body as a big, beautiful home. Your muscles are the lights. Your nerves are the wires. But without power, nothing turns on. That's where vitamin D3 comes in. It's the electricity. The hidden switch in the basement that most people forget about. After 60, your body starts cutting back on its natural D3 production. Your skin gets thinner. You don't go out in the sun as often. And even when you do, your body's conversion process from sunlight to vitamin D slows way down. As a result, your internal power supply dims quietly. And then the symptoms sneak in. Not all at once, but slowly. You might feel a little stiffer in the morning. Your steps feel heavier. Going upstairs starts to feel like lifting weights. You stop bending over to tie your shoes. Eventually, you stop noticing your own decline until your legs, your balance, and your energy have slipped away. But here's the good news. Once you flip the switch back on, your body remembers. It responds fast. Studies have shown that even a few days of proper vitamin D3 supplementation can lead to noticeably better strength, quicker movements, and more control. D3 doesn't just build bones. It tells your muscles how to move. It helps your nerves deliver clear signals. It reduces inflammation. And it improves calcium absorption, which is crucial not just for bones, but for muscle contraction. Most seniors are under-consuming D3 without realizing it. Why? Because food just doesn't provide enough. One whole egg? Just 40 IU. A glass of fortified milk? Maybe 100 IU. The daily requirement? At least 800 to 2000 IU. More if you're already showing signs of deficiency. That's why smart supplementation matters. The ideal time to take D3 is in the morning after breakfast with a little healthy fat, like avocado, eggs, or olive oil. It's fat-soluble, so timing and pairing matter. And when your D3 levels rise, something beautiful happens. Your movements feel smoother. Your knees feel lighter. You walk without bracing yourself first. It's like waking up muscles that have been on standby mode. And this is just the beginning. Because even if your lights are back on, they still need clear signals to work. In the next section, we're going to talk about the vitamin that connects your brain directly to your muscles. And if you've ever felt like your legs don't respond the way they used to, you won't want to miss what's next. Section 3. Vitamin B12, the messenger between your brain and muscles. Picture this. Your brain tries to send a command to your legs, something simple like lift or step. But the signal? It's delayed, scrambled, or never arrives. And you feel it in your unsteady steps, in that moment of hesitation when rising from a chair, in the way your foot catches a rug you used to step over with ease. That's the hidden power of vitamin B12. It's not just for energy. It's the wiring technician of your body, ensuring messages get from your brain to your muscles, fast and clear. When B12 runs low, it's like having a weak Wi-Fi signal between your mind and your movement. Things buffer, things freeze, and over time, you forget what stable even felt like. For seniors, B12 deficiency is more common than you think. Why? Because after 60, your stomach makes less acid, which is needed to absorb B12 from food. If you take acid blockers, diabetes meds like metformin, or follow a low-meat diet, the risk gets even higher. And the symptoms? They don't scream. They whisper. You might feel tingling in your toes. You might notice your balance feels off. You might feel foggy, more forgetful, or notice you're not walking as smoothly as before. It's subtle until it's not. The fix? Remarkably simple. Supplementing with 500 to 1,000 micrograms of methylcobalamin, the active, ready-to-use form of B12, can make a world of difference. Many seniors report clearer thinking, better posture, quicker reflexes, and a deeper sense of control in their lower body. And it works fast. Why? Because B12 goes straight to the problem. It helps rebuild the protective sheath around your nerves, enhances red blood cell production, and restores that instant response feeling between your brain and your legs. Let's be clear, this isn't magic. It's maintenance. The kind of maintenance no one taught us in our 30s or 40s, but becomes crucial in our 60s and beyond. Best time to take it? With or after lunch. Avoid pairing with coffee or tea, which can interfere with absorption. Try a dissolvable tablet or sublingual spray for best effect. And here's a little story to remind you why it matters. One woman said she used to stumble when turning corners in her home. After 4 weeks of consistent B12 use, it's like the lights came back on in my feet, she said. I trust them again. And that's the goal. Not just movement, but confidence in movement. Because every step you take, unafraid and unassisted, adds years to your independence. Coming up next, we'll talk about a vitamin that fuels everything. The energy in your legs, the drive in your muscles, and why so many people overlook it until they feel like they've run out of gas. Section 4. Vitamin B1, fuel for your muscles. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention: energy. Not the kind from caffeine or sugar. We mean the kind of deep, steady, muscle-driven energy that gets you through the day without feeling like you're dragging bricks behind you. That's where vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, comes in. Imagine your muscles are an engine. B1 is the spark plug. Without it, your body still tries to run, but everything feels harder. Walking, standing, even talking for too long can feel exhausting. You're not being lazy. You're not out of shape. Your engine's just low on fuel. Thiamine's main job is to convert the food you eat into energy your cells can actually use. And your legs? They're the biggest consumers. They require massive amounts of cellular energy just to function normally. But here's the catch. Aging interferes with that conversion process. Your gut doesn't absorb B1 like it used to. Certain medications, especially diuretics and blood pressure pills, flush thiamine right out of your system. Even alcohol, processed food, and years of gradual malnutrition can leave your tank empty. What does low B1 look like? It's that feeling of leg heaviness even after a good night's sleep. It's muscle cramps in the calves. It's feeling winded walking up one flight of stairs. One woman described it as, "My legs felt like someone turned down the dial on my strength." But when thiamine levels are restored, something amazing happens. That dial gets turned back up. You start moving with less strain. You recover faster. And that sense of drive that seemed missing? It returns. Most seniors benefit from 50 to 100 milligrams per day, especially if they're taking medications that deplete B1. The best time to take it? Morning, with a meal. And yes, avoid pairing it with black coffee or alcohol, which can interfere with absorption. And here's something important. If you've ever wondered why you feel tired even when you're well-fed and rested, it might not be your age. It might just be a vitamin you've been overlooking all along. If any of this sounds familiar, or you've ever said, "I just don't have the energy like I used to," take a second now to support this channel. Hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, and let us know where you're watching from. Your support helps us keep making content that keeps you strong, independent, and in control of your health. Next up, we're putting all the pieces together. You've got the switch, the signal, the fuel. Now, we'll show you exactly how to combine these three vitamins the right way, so your legs feel stronger, lighter, and more reliable than they have in years. Section 5. How to combine D3, B12, and B1 for maximum effect. Now that you know the roles each vitamin plays, power, connection, and fuel, the question becomes, how do you use them together to get the best results? The answer is timing, consistency, and simplicity. Let's walk through exactly how to fit these three into your daily routine without stress, confusion, or a mountain of pill bottles. Morning, start your day with vitamin D3. Take it right after breakfast, especially if your meal includes healthy fats like eggs, avocado, or olive oil. Vitamin D3 is fat-soluble, so it needs fat to be absorbed properly. Midday or with lunch. This is when you take your vitamin B12. Ideally, use a sublingual, under the tongue, tablet, or a spray form. Keep it away from coffee or tea, which can block absorption. B12 helps keep your brain sharp and your balance steady throughout the rest of the day. With your first meal, vitamin B1 works best when taken in the morning. It helps drive your muscle energy all day. If you often feel tired or heavy in your legs by mid-afternoon, adding B1 can make a huge difference by lunch. Pro tip: you don't need fancy multivitamins or combination formulas. In fact, many multivitamins underdose these crucial nutrients. Stick to single, high-quality supplements you can manage separately. That way, you control the dose, the timing, and the benefit. And here's a real-world example of how simple this can be. Breakfast: scrambled eggs with spinach, slice of avocado toast, glass of water, plus 1 D3 and 1 B1 tablet. Lunch: grilled chicken salad, plus 1 sublingual B12 spray under your tongue. Done. That's it. No stress, no complicated system. Just your 3 vitamin allies working quietly behind the scenes to wake up your legs, strengthen your muscles, and restore your confidence. And the best part? Most people start feeling better in days, not weeks. Some report waking up with more energy, walking with more stability, and feeling less tired even before the first week is over. Now, let's talk about something just as important, safety. Section 6. Vitamin safety, blood monitoring, and when to talk to your doctor. Vitamins are powerful, but they're not magic. They're tools. And like any tool, they need to be used wisely. Here are 3 key safety rules every senior should follow. Rule number 1. Don't guess. Test. If you're going to take these vitamins consistently, it's smart to get a basic blood panel every 6 to 12 months. That way, your doctor can confirm your levels and adjust dosages if needed. Rule number 2. Don't megadose. More is not always better, especially with fat-soluble vitamins like B3. Long-term high doses, above 4,000 IU daily, can cause calcium buildup or kidney stress. Stay within the recommended range unless advised otherwise by a healthcare provider. Rule number 3. Be mindful of your medications. If you take blood thinners, kidney medication, or drugs for heart rhythm, always double-check interactions. Vitamins are generally safe, but caution is smart. Think of your body like a classic car. It can still run beautifully, as long as it's well maintained. And vitamins? They're the oil, spark plugs, and filters that keep things moving. Section 7. Real results, inspiring stories, and your next step. Let's close with something that matters more than numbers. Real lives changed. We've heard from countless seniors who've added these 3 vitamins to their daily routine and seen a difference they feel, not just measure. One gentleman shared that after years of dragging his feet and fearing steps, he now walks to his mailbox without leaning on anything. A woman said her daughter asked, "Mom, are you walking faster now?" She smiled and replied, "Yes, and I'm not even trying." These aren't miracles. They're the result of listening to your body, giving it what it's been asking for, and reclaiming control. So before we wrap up, let's go over a few key lessons to take with you. First, never ignore what your legs are trying to tell you. Fatigue, heaviness, imbalance, they're not just signs of aging. They're signals that your body needs support. Second, small changes matter. Adding the right nutrients can help you restore energy, stability, and confidence faster than you think. It's not about reversing time. It's about respecting your body's needs right now. Third, your independence isn't gone. It's just waiting to be reactivated. Every strong step you take helps protect your freedom and quality of life. So here's your action plan. Choose one of the 3 vitamins we covered. Try it consistently for 2 weeks. Keep track of how you feel. Then, come back and tell us your story. You could be the encouragement someone else needs to get started. If this video helped you in any way, please consider giving it a like, sharing it with a friend or family member who might need it, and subscribing to our channel Over 60 Wellness. We're here to help you move stronger, feel better, and live more confidently every day. Your support helps us keep creating these videos, designed specifically for you. You've got more power in your legs than you realize. Now, you've got the tools to unlock it. Let's keep moving forward, one strong, confident step at a time.